Welcome aboard to podcast 45 in the series of the Voyage to Back Yonder. As I mentioned last week, I'm going to be removing my podcasts from iTunes and the podcast provider I currently use once I finish up the series, which should be around podcast 52. But no worries, all of my podcasts will continue to be available for free on my YouTube channel and also on my website at bredazen.com. Of course, I'll link those to the description of this podcast. In that last episode, we talked about how we're taught to look for our love outside of ourselves. And when we do this, that is when the seasickness kicks in, being rocked back and forth between feeling lovable and fearing not being worthy of love, all based on what we think other people's viewpoints are about us. To me, it seems that the view that's been most impactful in my life is my view of myself. For it's through this filter that I view my world. You know, we're all mirrors for each other. So when I'm seeing the world through the eyes of fear, I'm most likely not seeing reality. I'm just seeing what my fear ego wants me to see, and that is full of judgments about my own self-worth. You know, no one upsets me. My fight or flight is probably kicking in, and I'm making choices to defend my ego's vision of how things are supposed to be in order for me to be deemed lovable. How dare someone reflect back to me something that my ego doesn't like about myself? But what a wonderful gift these feelings are, though. I mean, not only are they providing a beautiful contrast to my true essence of unconditional love, they can also act as a great notification system that I've moved back into the fear of losing conditional love. When I first began to question what a successful life meant to me, I started to see the judgment and fear that surrounded that definition. You know, it looked like an external cage that I'd placed myself in so that I could pretend to be a trapped animal. But then, the more I studied it, I realized not only was there no lock on the door to that cage, there wasn't even a door at all. I could just walk out of that cage step by step. You know, we really do love ourselves. We've just forgotten. You know, when we were born here, we purposely forgot the amazing, eternal spirit being we are to experience all of this world to the fullest extent we can. But when we're ready, we begin to wake up. We begin to remember that unconditional love. You know, it seems we do ebb and flow between the two, you know, conditional and unconditional, but we can make it more of a ripple in a pond instead of a tsunami of waves, so that ebb and flow can become a more peaceful, tranquil transition. So in this episode, I thought, hey, I'm going to share some of the ways that I draw myself back into unconditional love or keep myself in it for as long as I can, just in case any of this interests you or it can help you on your path. Because I use these as like a compass just to keep me in a place of peace and health. I don't beat myself up if I wander into the rough waters. You know, when I notice that I've drifted, I just turn in the storm and start swimming back to the peaceful waters. You know, no beating myself up about it. I find it's keeping my attention on the higher things, the realm of unconditional love, that keeps me in that place of peace. You know, how can I try to do this in a life that is so full of distractions happening all around me? Well, that's a great question. So the first thing I try to do is, start my day off by focusing on the higher when I wake up. I try to remember to say, good morning, to the Creator as soon as possible once I'm aware that I've woken up. I just smile, even if I have to force a smile, and I thank them for a new day, a new adventure. I thank the Creator for their unconditional love they have for me. And I find that how I start my day is a huge influence on how I'll make my emotional choices throughout the day. If I start with unconditional love, it seems to be easier to stay in that throughout the day. But if I start off grumpy and in fear, which we all have and I still do, the day will be a wonderful mirror of that back to me. Once I've had enough of it, or, at some point during the day, usually I can choose to restart my day in unconditional love. And I know probably the toughest part, at least for me, is to keep that focus throughout the day, because life happens. We get drawn into focusing on our job, the traffic, the news, the drama happening all around us in this amusement park of fear. It's so exciting. Who wouldn't want to be distracted with all these amazing stories unfolding all around us? Well, the answer to that question is the exhausted people who have had enough of the drama for now. They would enjoy some peace-filled distraction. I know I have. So how do we find a nice bench in that amusement park of fear just to sit down in quietness and have an ice cream cone? Well, I find that having reminders or things to distract me back from fear has worked well for me. The first item that I'd like to mention is social media posts. I've made it part of my morning routine and kind of a habit to create and share uplifting posts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter that focus on unconditional love usually. And doing that puts me in a frame of mind to love and to share. But also, as individuals like and share the posts throughout the day, I get notifications on my phone that they're doing that, which again brings me back to the message of love that were shared. So I get a double whammy from it. Side note, if you'd like to receive those social media posts, just check out my website at brettazen.com, and on the bottom of each page there's links to my various social media accounts. So if we keep talking about unconditional love throughout our day in whatever way we can, then we can keep flowing in that love. So maybe texting friends in the morning and throughout the day, spreading the love, can help us stay grounded in it. We can even make a pact with, one individual or a small group, to do it for each other for a certain period of time. Hey, try different things. It's wonderful. We're very creative individuals. We can come up with a whole lot. Another item that helps ground me for the day or throughout the day is that I have a folder saved on my computer that I try to look at each morning as well. And pictures seem to get into the depth of my emotional center. So that's why I try to find pictures that represent reminders for me of things that help ground me in unconditional love. And because they lose effect after a while, our eyes get used to them, I try to change them up as well, just to keep them fresh. So whether it be a picture that makes me smile and choose to be happy, like an animal smiling, or a goofy picture, or a little funny comical joke, those things can help me. I also include something that reminds me there are two minds inside me, a fear ego mind and a being of unconditional love. That helps me see that I have a choice between the two throughout the day, and that I'm really only one of those. The other is just a character existing in the drama. Interesting, too, I have a picture of a skull to remind me that this body is a vehicle. Even tap on my forehead to hear the echo of the bones to make me realize, like that picture of a skull, that this skull and these bones is what is under the skin. And that is what will be left of this physical body when I leave this earth. Just bones. And I could go on and on about what pictures I have in my little folder. But what you would want to do, of course, is find those statements or pictures that bring you peace and joy. And those would be the ones you would want for you. You know, those pictures that bring you to a place of unconditional love and peace. One other thing that I notice has a great influence on my day is like what news I allow myself to be inundated with, what music I listen to, and what I let my senses experience. So I purposely don't watch the news anymore because it's usually full of opinions and not facts, and it tends to focus on fear. I also choose music that's uplifting to me and brings me peaceful, loving emotions. I may burn incense and use essential oils that bring me joy and calm through, the smell. I also try to keep written pages or items on me or at my desk in a place that gets in my way, that gets my attention. So things like a prayer mandala or a necklace or a bracelet or some sort of knickknack. I choose things that will draw me to them and not just blend in with my surroundings. Sometimes even put them like under my keyboard where I have to see them every time I'm typing. Just something like that just to help get the attention and bring us back from fear into unconditional love. And I've shared tons more ways throughout my podcasts, so, I won't regurgitate them all now, just lack of time. If you have interest in finding out more ideas, check out my podcasts. They're also available at the bottom of each page on mybrotherzen.com site for free. So at the end of the day, I try to sit quietly for a moment, just end the day's adventure with another big thank you to the big kahuna for a day filled with experiences. And then as I feel the unconditional love of the Creator just fill me up and surround me, I fall off into sleep, knowing that I have everything I need right here, right now. Until next episode, think about the question, how badly do I want to have a life of peace? Because until you're ready to sincerely choose that, you won't take a step towards it. If a child is loving swimming in the pool and someone tells them it's time to get out, they will take the path that is the longest to get out of the pool because they're not done enjoying it yet. So if you decide you want to have a life of peace, then you can come up with some fun ways to distract yourself back to unconditional love throughout your day. And let's be honest, usually we don't do anything too consistently for too long. Why set this expectation with ourselves that we're going to do certain things every single day? Really, that's how our fear ego subtly tries to distract us back into fear. Because what does it mean if we don't do that thing consistently? Failure, fickle, lazy. Judgment keeps us in the game. So rather than make it a supposed to or have to, let it be a could do or want to. and then let it unfold as it will. What an adventure. Enjoy your voyage, Captain. I love you.